Now, the African Union over the weekend held an extraordinary summit of the heads of state and government of the AU and said the unfair treatment that Africa has been subject to by the International Criminal Court is completely unacceptable. For more on this statement, we have Dan Kuwali, who is a senior researcher at the Center for Conflict Resolution, on the line from Cape Town. Dan, thank you so much for making the time to talk to us today. Of course, we've heard the AU pushing for the ICC not to persecute sitting heads of state. Have we had any official reaction from the ICC and the broader international community?
Yeah, not yet, apart from the newspaper articles we're seeing on various media channels. But basically the point that the AU is making is that first, no African sitting head of state should be obliged to stand trial before the ICC. And basically they're making reference to the Kenyan president, Uhuru Kenyatta, and his deputy, Ruto. And the second point the AU is saying is that the cases for President Kenyatta and his deputy, Ruto, should be deferred. So they have advised the Kenyan government to write a letter to the United Nations Security Council to defer the case for the president pursuant to Article 16 of the Rome Statute, which establishes the International Criminal Court.
As you've indicated, Dan, it seems as if it is the international media reportage that is really the voice or reaction at this time before we get an official reaction. But from what you've picked up, do you get the sense that there is a collective understanding or buy-in into this idea that that reconciliation as proposed by the African Union should precede persecution?
That's a good question. That's a good question. But I think you need to look at the broader picture. If you closely look at the sentence by the Ethiopian Prime Minister, Haile Mariam Desalegn, he's actually saying that African leaders would not tolerate impunity. So it's not really saying that reconciliation should take precedence over prosecution.
So, Dan, let me come to another question which touches on the credibility of this global institution. To a large extent, if we go back and historically, since its formation in 2002, there's been 8 indictments issued, and all of these 8 have been against African leaders. And obviously, this is a sore point that has been raised repeatedly by the African Union and even separately by different member states. Do you think that this is significant enough to cast a shadow of a bit of doubt about the organization?
Absolutely. But look at the broader picture again, because we have 8 situations before the ICC at the moment. And of the 8, 2 were referred by the Security Council, that is to say Libya and the situation in Darfur. The situation was actually referred to the using his or her right of initiative, proprio motu. And the rest were referred by the member states themselves. So it is incorrect to say that the ICC is only focusing on Africa. What is correct, in my view, is that the ICC is not focusing elsewhere other than Africa. So here what the ICC is to universal justice, as opposed to what seemingly justice, finding Africa as a soft target. The point is that mass atrocities of equal or even much more gravity are also committed elsewhere in the world. So the ICC should also elsewhere.
Dan, thank you so much for joining us on the line. Of course, we apologize for that poor audio.